Somewhere between Figma and Figma Mirror, a cult was born. Not a cult with tunics and candles, but with auto layout, French press coffee, and anxiolytic and moleskine capsules. Do you think you're investing in a design company? How cute! What you're doing, in fact, is buying a little piece of millennials' Apple with burnout and noise-canceling headphones. Figma is not just a tool, it's the last breath of a world where remote work, artisanal coffee, and minimalist design still promise to save. The soul, even if the soul is in dark mode and 8 PT Helvetica, did you think it was exaggerated? Adobe, yes, the same one that rules the planet with PDFs and random crashes, tried to buy Figma for $20 billion, billions with B, for good luck competing with this. And why didn't the deal happen? Because the US government thought that this union would create the Thanos of design. A monster with 6 plugins for fingers and the power to delete half of the prototypes with one click. So yes, if you're thinking about investing, understand, you are not buying stocks. It's buying a lifetime pass for a cult where meetings are held within shared files. Emojis are valid arguments, and the subject of the lunch is experimental typography. And honestly, it can be worth every penny. Especially if you have the courage to go all the way and activate the Team Pro plan. Ah, the sweet sound of an IPO, that almost magical moment when a startup steps out of the dark, hazy shadows of Silicon Valley and into the cruel, shiny ring of the stock exchange. It's like the first day at school, only with real money, fat contracts, and suit-clad analysts judging your color choices on the prototype. But, surprise, Figma hasn't even made an IPO yet. Nothing official, nothing concrete. Still, that has never stopped investors from behaving as if the company is already the new Tesla of design. You know, that kind of blind love that makes people vomit graphs and conspiracy theories on Reddit at 3 a.m., and speaking of Reddit, the forums are already boiling. Users have already dubbed Figma the Apple of depressive creatives, a kind of mix between minimalist design and chronic anxiety because, let's face it, who hasn't stayed up late adjusting pixels while drinking cold brew? Big investors are already preparing their impeccable slides, billionaire funds are making crazy calculations, and even that tech influencer friend of yours is already planning lives dedicated to the next successful IPO. But why all this excitement? It's not just because Figma has a beautiful interface and a stylish purple logo. The secret is in ideology. Figma doesn't just sell software, it sells real-time collaboration, productivity with superpower status. And most of all, the comforting feeling that you're actually working even when you're just dragging that little box of text around, pretending to be super productive. And if, by chance, the IPO really comes, you can prepare the queue. It's not just going to be investors hungry for cheap stock, but ring-light influencers, former designers turned spiritual branding coaches, and anyone who's ever had a pro account on Figma, all looking to secure their spot in the next collaborative cult. It will be one of those queues that not even Black Friday can stand. In the beginning, Figma was just a tool, a simple platform where designers moved their dots and dragged purple rectangles across the screen. But then, slowly, like all good cult stories, it was transformed into a sacred temple. It all started with a purple box, the famous frame button, an icon so simple yet so powerful that it has become a symbol of faith for thousands of designers around the world. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Perhaps. But there are people who live in Figma, people who eat at Figma, or rather, who don't even leave it at lunchtime because the project can't stop. People who love Figma, or at least love the feeling, that they're creating something amazing while crying inside when the prototyping plugin crashes right at that crucial moment. Figma has achieved something that every company dreams of: deep emotional dependence on its users. It's serious if it freezes. It's as if the world stops, no one can work. If the product team decides to change the share button to another color, a digital revolution begins. A Twitter thread goes viral, a Slack channel becomes a war zone, and even an open letter with 3,000 signatures appears asking for the button back or at least a little piece. That's why investing in Figma is so tempting and dangerous at the same time. You're not simply betting on a design app, you're betting on the sect of designers who will never accept returning to the offline world, who prefer an unstable connection, a crashing screen, and 1,000 conflicting plugins to even imagine life without the purple box. You thought you were buying shares of a simple design platform? How naive! Surprise! In fact, You're entering a religion without dogma, with rituals that involve iced coffee and endless meetings. A dash of Silicon Valley startup and a generous sprinkling of buzzwords that no one really knows what they mean, but everyone pretends they understand. Figma doesn't just sell you a tool, it sells you a lifestyle. A beautiful and bright promise of a world where no one needs to send files by email anymore, because that's a thing of the last century. Here, everything happens in real time, with animated boxes, smooth transitions, and that nice feeling that you're working, even if you're just dragging a text box from one side to the other. And do you think that's bad? Quite the opposite. It's just genius. Because instead of customers, Figma has created fervent devotees, those who not only pay the subscription religiously, but who also evangelize others, propagating the cult of collaborative and shared design as if it were the new doctrine of the corporate world. So the next time someone asks you, is it worth investing in Figma, you can safely answer, yes, because that's not just any company. It's a lifestyle, and let's face it, it's a lot harder to cancel a lifestyle than an app. At first, everything seems perfect. Interface as clean as a blank canvas waiting for your masterpiece, magical collaboration that makes it feel like you're brainstorming with the best designers on the planet, even if they're on the other side of the world or simply ignoring your messages. Comments floating like balloons of wisdom, giving that touch of look how modern we are. You invest, you believe it. You jump right into this digital journey. But then, my friend, it starts to get interesting, or rather, expensive. The bill arrives at the end of the month, upgrades appear as insistent ghosts. The free plan, forget, it has to be paid. And that essential plugin, which promised to revolutionize your life, only works if you're on the pro version, which costs more than your weekly coffee, and when you finally look at the statement, you realize that you've already gone through 9 different credit cards and you're still trying to design the simple login button that you don't want to collaborate with. You wanted to invest in a rocket, something that would take off and take you straight to the moon of financial success. But in the end, you've figured out that you're trapped in a bubble with border radius 12. Elegant, rounded, yes, but still a bubble. And the worst, you love being there. He can't, nor does he want to leave. The interface has become your golden prison. It is at this exact moment that the investor becomes a hostage. Not the company itself, but the experience. From the ecosystem that hooks you with updates, integrations, and notifications. Of the cult you swore never to join, but which is now your home. Because, after all, you don't even know where design ends anymore, and the vector Stockholm syndrome begins that strange affection for your own digital captivity. Stocks are rising. The market is excited. The valuation looks like something out of a fairy tale, numbers shining on the screen. Green charts, a sea of dollar signs winking at you. Everything beautiful, perfect, like a fresh coffee on a Monday morning. But there's a detail that no one told you. You haven't slept in days. Yes, sleepless nights, eyes glued to the screen, heart beating faster than the mouse cursor. Because along with this graph that goes up, there is also an endless avalanche of feedback, comments, and prototypes in progress that seem to multiply like gremlins. You thought that investing in Figma was buying the future, that jackpot that would make you rich and peaceful? But no one warned that the package included an unsolicited bonus, real-time, 24/7 anxiety, and yet, you don't sell. As much as your head screams, sell everything, my friend. Your finger is nailed to the mouse, holding the actions. Tight. Because, deep down, you know the painful and strangely comforting truth, as long as the world still depends on those prototypes that never get off the ground, or rather, the screen your money is safe. But his sanity, this one, is slowly evaporating, like unread feedback in a sea of notifications. Welcome to the Figma paradox. Investment grows and your bank balance rises, but you shrink. 1 pixel of sanity a day until it becomes just a perfect, minimalist outline of what you once were. Every investor arrives at that moment, that delicate moment when the chart is beautiful, shining green as if it were a beacon of hope. The reports are impeccable, full of numbers that make any CFO smile. The market is smiling back, winking at you as if to say, come on, invest some more. But deep down in your digital soul, you know a simple and terrifying thing. You're about to lose the last shred of control you have left. This is exactly where modern capitalism meets creative collapse. 1 click, just one, and everything changes. An invitation sent, a shared spreadsheet, an open interface. And out of nowhere, that spreadsheet that was his paradise turns into a Cold War in prototype format. Conflicts arise like inexplicable bugs, meetings take place in secret channels, and every pixel becomes a reason for assembly, protest, and endless review. And then, in the midst of this chaos, he understands the ultimate truth. Investing in Figma is not betting on tranquility, on the calm of predictable dividends. No, it is choosing to live in the eye of the eternal creative hurricane. It's accepting that your favorite startup, your crown jewel, has become a collaborative arena where every little visual element is debated, revised, altered, and finally, probably, recreated. But you know what? After all this madness, he looks at the digital horizon, takes a deep breath, and says, with a mixture of exhaustion and passion, yes, I'd buy it. Again.